Hello, and welcome to Overlooked Headlines. We're the podcast designed to share headlines from America and around the world that have been disregarded or overlooked, but are critical to our lives and well-being. It's our mission to inform with the headlines and then inspire through biblical words, which we call His Lines, that once heard and applied will help to strengthen our faith in God as we navigate this journey called life. Now, here's the host of Overlooked Headlines, Jeff Bass.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Overlooked Headlines. I'm Jeff Bass. As always, let me thank you for your continued support of this podcast. We really appreciate your support. Stay connected with us. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. Leave your comments. And again, please share. We love to hear from you. By the way, if you like the content we provide, you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link on the Overlooked Headlines Instagram profile. We appreciate that also. Now, here's our headline breakdown. We will start off with an in case you missed it headline. Suspected Ebola scare at New York City urgent care. UK Court of Appeal rules expressing biblical truth is not discriminatory. And our top headline, experts warning of serious side effects from Ozempic. And we close, as always, with His Lines. In case you missed it, suspected Ebola scare at New York City urgent care. A suspected Ebola exposure at a Manhattan urgent care facility had two patients rushed to the hospital by emergency workers in hazmat suits on Sunday. But the infection may be norovirus, sources said. The patients were transported from a City MD on East 125th Street and Lexington Avenue by first responders wearing hazmat suits, law enforcement sources said. Officials feared Ebola infections because patients had traveled from Uganda and had symptoms consistent with the disease, but no test had confirmed its presence, the sources added. Health officials later said the sickness had spread quickly between family members, which meant it may be more likely to be norovirus. They've been taken to Bellevue Hospital for testing and further evaluations, the sources added. The City MD had been reopened and first responders okayed to work with basic PPE equipment. Ebola, which is spread through contact with bodily fluids of an infected person or contaminated materials, manifests as a deadly hemorrhagic fever. Its symptoms include fever, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle pain, and at times internal and external bleeding, and are similar to those of norovirus, though the sickness is not deadly. We will keep you informed of this headline. Our next headline, UK Court of Appeal rules expressing biblical truth is not discriminatory. The UK Court of Appeal has ruled that Christy Higgs was unlawfully dismissed for expressing her Christian beliefs. This landmark case is sending shockwaves through the battle over religious liberties in the UK, especially as churches, including the Church of England, continue to drift further into progressive ideology, indoctrinating children in gender ideology rather than biblical truth. Christy Higgs, a devoted Christian and a mother, worked for 7 years as a pastoral assistant, which is a role similar to a counselor, at Farmores School in Gloucestershire. Her trouble began in 2019 when she learned that her son's Church of England primary school was introducing mandatory sex education lessons promoting transgender ideology, even for children as young as 4 years old. Disturbed by what she saw as a direct attack on biblical teachings and parental rights, she took to her personal Facebook account to share her concerns. Her post did not mention her son's school. One warned about the increasing number of children's books in American schools promoting transgender ideology. Another linked to a petition urging the government to protect parental rights and prevent LGBT indoctrination in schools. That should have been the end of it. But in today's climate, simply speaking biblical truth is considered a crime. A so-called friend of Higgs saw her post and reported her to her school, launching an ordeal that will last for years. The school reacted with shocking hostility. Higgs was suspended, hauled into a 6-hour interrogation, and was considered extremist simply for holding biblical beliefs. Not long after, she was fired for what they said was gross misconduct. The school justified its decision by claiming she had engaged in, quote, illegal discrimination, end quote, serious inappropriate use of social media and online comments that could bring the school into disrepute. In short, she was fired, they say, for being a Christian. Higgs, refusing to be silenced, took her case to court and immediately faced setbacks. In 2020, a tribunal admitted that her religion was a protected characteristic under the UK's Equality Act, but still ruled her dismissal lawful. But Higgs and her Christian Legal Center team fought back. In 2023, the Employment Appeal Tribunal overturned that ruling, ordering a fresh review of the case. Then, on February 12, 2025, the UK Court of Appeal issued its final verdict. Higgs' firing, they said, was unlawful. The court ruled that expressing a Christian belief, even if others find it offensive, isn't a fireable offense. Their statement was very clear. The dismissal of an employee merely because they have expressed a religious or other protected belief will constitute unlawful direct discrimination within the meaning of the Equality Act. This decision sets a powerful precedent for Christians across the UK who fear persecution for standing firm in their faith. The victory in Christy Higgs' case is a beacon of hope as the world is becoming increasingly hostile toward biblical truth. The big question is, will Christians stand for their biblical beliefs even when the world fights against their beliefs? Let us know what you think about this headline. Stay where you are. I've got more overlooked headlines.
Still to come, our top headline. And don't miss his lines right here on Overlooked Headlines.
Now, here's our top headline. Experts warning of serious side effects from Ozempic. Some users of the popular weight loss and diabetes drug Ozempic are reporting sudden and severe vision loss, with some experiencing blindness after just one dose. The drug, manufactured by Danish pharmaceutical giant Novo Nordisk, has been hailed as a miracle solution for weight management and diabetes control. However, a growing number of cases suggest that Ozempic and similar medications may carry devastating risk, including permanent blindness, raising serious questions about the safety and oversight of these widely promoted drugs. The alarming trend was highlighted in a recent study published in JAMA Ophthalmology, which detailed 9 cases of patients in the U.S. who suffered vision loss after taking semaglutide, the active ingredient in Ozempic, or tirzepatide found in Mounjaro. In one case, a woman woke up blind in her left eye in the morning after her first injection. She initially stopped taking the medication as a result, but then resumed it due to her diabetes and subsequently lost vision in her right eye. Another patient developed retinal blood vessel damage after a year on semaglutide, while a man experienced eye bleeding linked to tirzepatide. Experts speculate that the rapid reduction in blood sugar levels caused by these drugs may damage blood vessels in the eyes, leading to conditions like non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, known as NAION. NAION is a stroke of the optic nerve that can cause irreversible vision loss. NAION typically affects about 6,000 Americans annually. often those with diabetes, high blood pressure, or sleep apnea. However, the sudden onset of these conditions in Ozempic users has raised red flags. Dr. Bradley Katz, an ophthalmologist at the University of Utah and lead author of the study, emphasized the need for caution. He said, quote, "These drugs are very effective at reducing blood sugar, and when one rapidly reduces blood sugar, it can cause swelling in the optic nerve," he explained. While the exact mechanism remains unclear, the correlation between these medications and vision loss is undeniable. Novo Nordisk and other pharmaceutical companies have aggressively marketed Ozempic and similar drugs as a panacea for weight loss and diabetes, often downplaying or ignoring serious side effects. Ozempic, derived from the venom of the Gila monster, a venomous lizard, has long raised eyebrows among skeptics who question its safety for human use. The drug's rapid rise to popularity, fueled by celebrity endorsements and social media hype, has overshadowed growing concerns about its potential risks. Despite the alarming reports, the American Academy of Ophthalmology has stopped short of recommending against the use of these drugs, instead advising patients experiencing vision problems to consult their doctors. Meanwhile, health officials in Denmark, where Novo Nordisk is based, are investigating the link between semaglutide and vision loss. For now, experts urge caution. Dr. Katz recommends that patients starting or increasing their dosage of these drugs do so gradually to minimize the risk of rapid blood sugar drops. He also called on the FDA to mandate post-marketing surveys to better understand the true incidence of these complications. As the popularity of Ozempic and similar drugs continues to soar, the reports of sudden blindness serve as a sobering reminder of the potential dangers lurking behind the promise of quick fixes. While these medications may have helped some people, the growing body of evidence linking them to severe side effects demands greater scrutiny and accountability from Big Pharma. Man, this is a very interesting story. What do you think about Ozempic? Do you know anyone who takes Ozempic, or do you think it's good or bad? Give us your comments. Don't move. His lines are coming up.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode, then we'll think you'll love connecting with us on our social media platforms as well, because we post frequent news bites, tips, and alerts to keep you informed and inspired. Now, let's get back to more overlooked headlines with Jeff Bass.
Now, it's time for His Lines, where we take a closer look at these headlines from a biblical perspective taken from the Bible, God's Word. This week, I was researching the word anchor in my studies, and I discovered that anchors are devices that provide stability for ships during rough storms, protecting sailors and the ship from being tossed around at sea. Biblically, the anchor is used as a symbol of our hope in Jesus that gives us stability and steadfastness in our lives. Also, the Bible uses an anchor figuratively to depict the hope we have as the anchor of our soul. The Christian's anchor doesn't reach down into the sea, but reaches up into heaven, where Jesus continually intercedes for us. Romans 8:34 says, "Who then will condemn us? No one, for Christ Jesus died for us and was raised to life for us, and he is sitting in the place of honor at God's right hand, pleading for us." While Hebrews chapter 6, verses 19 and 20 declares, "We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. It enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain, where our forerunner, Jesus, has entered on our behalf. He has become a high priest forever in the order of Melchizedek. You see, our hope is firm and secure because it's anchored on Jesus and the promises of God. We've been given an anchor for the soul, a lasting hope, both sure and unshakable. All else is fleeting and changing. But you know what? Jesus remains the same. Therefore, when the storms of life flood the Christian with fear, stress, worry, doubt, and unbelief, we can hold on to God's promises and find stability in the salvation Jesus has provided. Doesn't matter what happens, God's promises remain. He doesn't want his children to drift, but wants them to be fixed in a secure and stable place. Get anchored in him today. That's his lines. For Overlooked Headlines, I'm Jeff Bass, keeping you informed and inspired. Stay blessed.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you've been informed and inspired. Like us, tell a friend, and connect with us via Facebook, YouTube, or email us at neveroverlooked@gmail.com. That's neveroverlooked@gmail.com. Check us out next time on Overlooked Headlines with Jeff Bass.